Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Dan with Ruff Politics. Excuse me if I don't look into the camera very much because I'm going to do this while driving to my next puppy appointment. I'm hearing a lot about how Bernie Sanders ruined the election for Hillary Clinton. And what brought a metaphorical tear to my eye was when Bernie Sanders spoke last night at George Washington with his major Trump speech. I missed the first quarter of it because the connection was so bad. Everyone was having problems with it. I think the website, the Our Revolution website, went down. I was on the Facebook page and it was taking forever to load and it would freeze and the audio was terrible. Then someone provided a link to a second Facebook Live feed, which was much better. It was a camera in the front of the auditorium, but off to the side of the stage, so it was not the best angle, and still not fantastic audio, but good enough. And then all of a sudden, People for Bernie tweeted a link to a CBS Albany, I think it was, station that was broadcasting crystal clear audio. It was brilliant. It was direct from the mic, direct from the soundboard. The audience cheers were muffled, so you could actually hear him talking. It was fantastic. So I came in at the end of his speech and then listened to the interview afterward, which there was a lot of questions about his new book and such and so forth. But anyway, what brought a tear to my eye was that he, when asked about whether he affected Hillary Clinton's election outcome, he was saying what I've been tweeting about since the election and more. But of course he would say more than I. He's much smarter than I. But all this talk about Bernie taking votes from Hillary, I've been saying I think it's the exact opposite. I believe that Bernie got more votes for Hillary than she would have gotten had she run the campaign all by herself. The reason being, Bernie Sanders excited an entire new generation of voters, young people who may not have gotten involved in the political process. Not just a young generation, but there might have been people of an older generation who had given up hope and weren't planning to vote in the election, or at least weren't planning to vote for Hillary. There might have been people who had given up and thought, oh, well, Trump is an outsider, maybe that's the guy I'm going to vote for. But then Bernie enters the race and excites all of these people, excites them into getting involved and voting. And when Bernie lost the primary, he continued to campaign for Hillary. And when Bernie lost, there was absolutely a large group of Bernie or bust people. People that were refusing to vote for anyone but Bernie. For anyone other than Bernie. They refused to vote for anyone but Bernie. That means that they were committed to writing Bernie's name in, possibly voting third party. At least those were the never Hillary people, the people that vowed not to vote for Hillary under any circumstance. So there was that group of people, but I think they were a minority because most of what I saw were Bernie people that threw up Hillary signs on their profiles and on their cars. I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of that around my area. A Bernie sticker and a Hillary sticker right next to it. So I believe that while Bernie campaigned against Hillary in the primaries, when he lost the primary, a lot more of his followers continued to follow him and went on to vote for Hillary in the general election, compared to those who continued to refuse to support Hillary. So I believe she got a lot of votes from young people and people that might have given up just a group of people that, for whatever reason, would not have voted in this election, and Bernie excited them to vote. So Hillary got those votes thanks to Bernie. That's what I believe. Bernie also went on, though, he made that point in a more succinct way, but he also made the point that he helped because he forced a debate, and that we need to debate these things, not just have a coronation for a candidate. That if we debate the issues, we can talk about things, and that would make Hillary a better candidate. Because by the end of the primaries, she had started to support, or at least claim to support, a more liberal, progressive policy platform. Now, I'm one of the people that don't believe she meant anything she said about that. In an election season, you're going to say whatever you can to get elected. We know she spoke to small groups of large donors, rich people, and from what it seems to be from the transcripts, if they are accurate, she said one thing to them and says a different thing to us. She even said you got to have two different personas. You got to have what you say in private and what you say in public. So I didn't trust that she was going to adopt the new progressive liberal platform anyway. But regardless, I think a lot of people still voted for her. So the fact that Bernie hurt her in the election, I think, is ridiculous. Especially when you consider the fact that she's winning the popular vote by over 1 million votes. So it really does not seem like Bernie hurt her. It sounds like the Electoral College hurt her, one, and she hurt herself. She was just untrustworthy from the beginning. We never knew who the real Hillary was. She tried to encourage the young vote by tweeting, hey, send us your feelings about your college debt using only emoji. That was a real tweet that she put out. She toured with Katy Perry. Apparently she paid Katy Perry several thousands of dollars to campaign for her. I believe there was another artist that said as much. He said, yes, I was paid to campaign for Hillary. She surrounded herself with Beyonce and Jay-Z and Lady Gaga. Hillary was basically, she was trying to get young people's votes by surrounding herself with celebrity. But Bernie earned the young people's votes by his policy, not by celebrity. Well, that's a cool effect when the glare comes in. I'm all grayed out. So Bernie was authentic, and he held a platform that young people wanted to hear. Hillary did not. That's just the fact of the matter. For that and many more reasons, Hillary only hurt herself as much as she did, and I just see no real way to suggest that it was Bernie's fault. Even if you try to argue that Hillary lost swing states by a less percent than there were people who voted for third party. For instance, she may have lost Pennsylvania to Donald Trump by just 1%, but there was 4 or 5% of the voting population in Pennsylvania that voted for third party. So if all of those 5% voted for Hillary, she would have won. Well, yes. I mean, it stands to be fairly obvious that if more people voted for her, she would have won. But one, there's no guarantee that that 5% who voted for third party, if they made any other choice, would have voted for her. They may have stayed home. They may have voted for Trump. So those are two very real possibilities. And now, here we are, as Salon put it, we're dealing with sore winners from the Trump camp and his supporters. And they're spending their time attacking the losers being racist and attacking people. Granted, you have a couple stories of Hillary or Bernie supporters or just non-Trump supporters that are going out and attacking Trump supporters. The sore winners of Trump, I think that they're so focused on the losers because they don't have anything to focus on in terms of winning. They supported a candidate who was given absolutely no details on how he would accomplish any of his policies. He hasn't given details on who he would hire in his campaign, on his staff in a Trump White House. He just said, I'm going to surround myself with the best people, and we're going to build a wall, and we're going to do that. But he never gave any details of how to do it. So now that he's won, there's nothing really that his supporters can say. I would like them to hold his feet to the fire. He promised them stuff, so now he's in debt to them, and I would like to see them holding him accountable, especially when he's already started to, or he's claimed to, start breaking his promises in terms of, well, he's not really given much thought about prosecuting Hillary, and now he's okay to compromise Obamacare. He's going to leave a handful of that stuff alone, and all sorts of policies he's going to leave alone. So they need to hold him accountable to that. Here I will just end by saying that I think the reason there are attacks against Trump supporters, and I don't think there's that many, but I certainly am willing to accept that it's out there, at least some, is that just being a Donald Trump supporter, I believe, is associated with hate and racism, because there is so much about that in the media. Now, I don't know if that is a vast majority of the Trump supporters, or if that's just the result of the media only reporting on the outlandish stuff. But certainly we saw a lot of protesters getting attacked at Trump rallies, and I'm sure there were Trump rallies that had no instances like that, but there were Trump rallies where protesters were attacked. There are multiple stories online of Trump supporters attacking people and harassing people, driving through colleges while streaming video of them attacking people. So there's a lot of that. And I think attacks against Trump supporters... Oh, and then you have like the KKK supporting Trump. It really does come off as just one big hate group. And I think there's a self-defense mechanism somewhere in the consciousness of people who are attacking Trump supporters. They see someone as a threat to the country, an immediate threat. And, or at the very least, they see it as a grave insult to them. If you just see a Trump supporter, you can project, that person, if you're, a minority or a woman, you can see that person and say, that person has a Trump hat on or is a Trump supporter, so I know that they don't like me. And not only do they don't like me, they're willing to say and do nasty things towards me, and that can come off as a very real threat, especially when it seems like there are just so many Trump supporters that are going to be like that. So that are going to want to deport you or want to grab you by the P word. Not that I condone violence, but I think I can sort of understand the mindset of why someone would want to attack a Trump supporter, because it seems like that Trump supporter is a hate-filled person who has plans to, or supports plans to, attack, harass, deport non-Trump supporters. So it's kind of like it's a battle between the two people. All right, I don't know how clear I was because I was doing that while driving, but that's my Ruff Politics episode. Goodbye.